California voters legalized medical marijuana nearly 20 years ago, but federal opposition and the lack of clear state rules to regulate it have made provision of medical marijuana a big legal problem. Members of the California Assembly hope to solve at least that second issue by passing AB 266. It would create a Bureau of Medical Marijuana Regulation. It would give the state the power to license dispensaries, to regulate the cultivation and transportation of medical marijuana, and to take steps to ensure the safety of the product. On the other hand, it would still allow cities to ban medical marijuana dispensaries. Joining me to talk about what may be coming are Alex Kreit, professor with the Thomas Jefferson School of Law, and Eugene Davidovich, who's a spokesperson for the Alliance for Responsible Medicinal Access. And Alex, thanks very much for coming in.
Great to be here.
You know, it seems like these rules are a long time in coming. Why has it taken the legislature so long to act on this?
Well, I think really a lot of just political infighting. I think, honestly, in some ways it's been a mystery because California was a leader on this, passing the first medical marijuana law in 1996, and now we've really fallen behind the times. Most other states already have these kinds of regulations in place, so it's great to see it moving forward here in California.
Well, based on what you know, what do you think of AB 266?
So far, it sounds like, I think, a really good proposal. We're still waiting to get all of the language released, so obviously the devil is sometimes in the details, but from the information that's come out so far, it seems like a really good compromise between the interests of law enforcement, cities, patients, medical marijuana business operators, so I'm hopeful about it.
Why does the state need to get involved? What problem would that solve that local agencies haven't been able to solve?
Well, there's a lot of elements of medical marijuana that really need to be regulated at the state level. Cities like San Diego, they're not capable of regulating some of the environmental concerns, the testing of the product, the labeling, all these kinds of things. That's something that really the state should be taking care of.
Now, I think you've told me that Colorado has done a pretty good job of regulating medical marijuana and then legalized marijuana. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I think they really moved forward in a real way to put regulations in place early. Colorado, I think, really kind of was one of the leaders in having really, really good, clear medical marijuana regulations, and that translated over when they legalized for recreational marijuana in 2012.
Well, Eugene, you represent a medical marijuana trade association. How has this bill been received by growers and people who want to open dispensaries?
Well, as Alex said, the devil's always in the details.
I shouldn't say the bill, the proposed bill.
Yes, the devil is always in the details. We are closely monitoring this bill as it makes its way through the Assembly, and we are hopeful that this will, in fact, establish statewide regulations that will provide the very needed clarity for both patients, the communities, and the operators. Statewide regulations for cultivation, for manufacturing, for testing, that is something that the community has been asking for 20 years almost.
Given what you know, do you have any concerns about this bill?
Yes, we do. The ability for cities and counties to ban access locally is a problem. It goes to affect the people that this law was designed for, those that suffer from serious chronic conditions that cannot travel, in many cases, long distances. And if there is no access in their neighborhood, where do they get their medicine?
And so I assume groups like yours will be lobbying to change that provision?
We are working on it. We are doing everything we can, but it looks like this provision is something that will remain in the law, unfortunately.
Well, Alex, it's no secret that supporters are gearing up to put medical marijuana, not medical marijuana, but recreational marijuana legalization on the California ballot next year. Now, I think you touched on this before. Do you think that this process with medical marijuana will affect that in some way?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important for if we're going to have recreational marijuana legalized, and I think it's almost certain we will if we look at the polling numbers. It's important to have rules of the road in place for medical marijuana. The experience with Colorado and Washington State has borne that out. Washington State, they didn't have rules of the road in place at the state level for medical marijuana before they legalized. They had a much harder time implementing legalization than Colorado did. It's just a lot harder to reconcile things if you don't have clarity at the state level for medical marijuana and then you want to legalize for recreational marijuana.
Well, Alex Kreit, Eugene Davidovich, thanks very much.
Thank you.